Hi guys, welcome back to Nebula Fox Toy Reviews. Today we are once again back with Jurassic World and we are taking a look at some more Rebirth figures, and it is the Strike Attacks. So these are the little gimmicky ones. In the UK these are exclusive to Smith's Toys. So overall I think they're easier to find in the States. But anyway, we've got the full wave of them here. So we have the Nanotyrannus, which is very cool. We have the Herrerasaurus. That's a really cool one. Oh, this is like the second wave of these figures, by the way. I have already reviewed the first wave. We have the Achillobator. This one I'm most looking forward to because it looks like a cool figure. And finally, we have the Zuniceratops. We have already had a Zuniceratops before from Mattel, but it didn't look like this. So, yeah, really excited to take these guys out of the packaging. So let's head over to the review table and do just that, shall we? So, here we are. Here are all the figures. I'm going to start with the Zuniceratops, and I'm actually going to end with the Achillobator because that's the one I'm mostly excited for. So I'm going to move all of the others off to the side. Irritator, get out the Herrerasaurus, all of them need to get out of the shot. And we're starting with the Zuniceratops. I'm going to move the camera down a bit for this. There we go. So, Zuniceratops. So we've got the Jurassic World Rebirth logo and the Spinosaurus there. Nice open box design so you can have a mess with the figures. There it shows you what it does. And on the back, once again, some more stuff about what the figure does. We've got the Jurassic World Facts app or Play app or whatever it is called now. I don't actually know. And we've got the rest in the set. So let's get this guy out. There we go. Oh, there's one more snip on the... There we go. One final snip on the leg. Ooh. And here is... Oh, sort the legs out. There we go. And here is our Zuniceratops free. And you know what? I am pleasantly... Okay, pissed scan code. I'm pleasantly surprised. I do quite like this guy now. I was the least excited for him, but he's a chunky boy, or she is a chunky girl. It's a chunky... It's a chunky little dancer. Look at the thickness of that tail. This is a chunky guy. So, going into the head sculpt, the eyes have been painted nicely centered with the printing, which is good. The beak has actually been painted, which is a first. On the Ceratops is this size. I don't remember the beaks ever really being printed before. So they've gone a little bit more with the love on this guy. I love the orange. The orange on the frill just looks really nice. The camera the camera is picking it up to be a bit of a brighter orange. But it is a slightly darker orange. Then again, it's also picking up the table to be lighter. So that is really nicely done. The horns are nicely painted, which is nice. The body seems to have been sculpted in this grey, this light grey colour. But you've got the brown markings. And then the tail is made in the brown material, which is interesting. For articulation, you do have the head, but it is tied to the action feature. We'll get to that afterwards. So you've got the legs. Ow! Fucking hell, what is it with toys this month? Biting me. The front legs can move back and forth. There's no in and out movement with them. The back legs can also move backwards and forwards. Once again, there's no in and out movement, which is odd. These ones normally have a bit of in and out movement. Oh well. Tail is also tied to the action feature, which I will show you now. So you move the tail down and the head moves along with it. So he's like nodding his head, but he's also getting ready to charge at you. So that is pretty cool. Is my thumb bleeding now? Yep, the thumb's bleeding. Not much though. And here is the scan code for the there's a bit of a hair there. There we go. So here is the scan code for the Zuniceratops. There we go. Moving on, I'm going to do the Herrerasaurus next because this is another returning species. So the Zuniceratops is a returning species but a new sculpt. This is a returning species and a returning sculpt. Just with a slightly different action feature. So we have seen this Herrerasaurus before. The hands are slightly different though. The head is the same. We've had this head before. But the arms are different. I've actually only just realised that the arms are different. So on the older sculpt, I don't have any to hand, but on the older version of this sculpt, the hands looked more human. And they looked odd. Whereas now they actually look a bit more like dinosaur hands. But yeah, the hands looked more human and they had the thumb down here. So say normally we have the thumb pointing up, but this guy had the thumb pointing down and it was weird. I did like the sculpt though because it made it a bit more unique. But anyway, for the colours on this guy, I kind of like it. It kind of reminds me of chocolate pudding with banana. It's like a banoffee pie in a way. But the eyes, once again, do seem to have been printed really nicely. The teeth are painted okay. No paint on the roof of the mouth as usual, but we do have a nicely painted tongue. Unfortunately, we don't have these little fleshy bits painted this time though. But oh well. And then in comes the chocolate going down all the tail and the upper legs. Articulation, as you've seen, the arms can move forward and back. There's no in and out movement. They are also a soft rubbery material, so they're not solid plastic. And the legs can also go forward and back, and no in and out. Mattel seem to be abandoning the in and out movement of the legs. Unless they're saving it for just the bigger figures. I don't know. Action feature, you twist the tail and he twists and opens his mouth. So it's like that. Which would be pretty cool. This is normally an action feature which on the bigger ones would have some sounds with it. So that is pretty cool. I do like that action feature. Not so much the twisting, but I do like the mouth opening. I feel like if it went up and down instead of twist, so the body went up and down as well, that would have looked even better than a twist. There's no articulation actually in the head, even though you do have that seam there because it's just the upper head, the upper jaw bit. So he is ever so slightly looking off to the side, but I don't mind that actually. It gives it a bit more life. Oh, scan code. There is the scan code for this Herrerasaurus. Next, we are doing the Nanotyrannus, which has recently been reclassified as its own species. So Nanotyrannus is valid again. Because there's been a time where people were like, oh, it's just a baby T-Rex. Nanotyrannus itself doesn't exist. It's just like a juvenile or a baby version of a T-Rex. But it has, which this figure actually makes it look like it is just a small T-Rex. But closer study of the fossils has found out that Nanotyrannus is its own genus. Because from thinking it was a baby T-Rex, because it had a long thin snout, not a T-Rex snout like this. It had a long thin snout, sort of a bit more like the Herrerasaurus. So to go from a longer snout to a stubbier snout of an adult T-Rex, it would have had to have overgone a lot of changes in the bone structure or something like that. like too many changes. So Nanotyrannus is its own species again. The arms are too big. The arms are too thick. They did not have thick muscly arms like this. But anyway, I like the colour of this guy, so we're moving back onto the review. I do like the colour of this guy. The blues make it stand out quite a lot against most of Mattel's Jurassic World figures. Eyes are printed nicely again, so that's a nice bonus. Little arms, once again made of a softer plastic. And like I said, they're too muscly. It had a bit more spindly arms, like, you know, like what T-Rex does. Ah, this cut is killing me. But it's still really nice. Inside, no painted roof of the mouth, but we do have a nicely painted tongue. The fleshy bits are not painted again, as usual. Camera, are you going to focus on this figure, please? Please focus. There we go. Teeth are painted really nicely though, so that's good. Paint on the body is just this little bit of splotches on the back. Apart from that is just all this solid dark blue colour. But you know what? For this guy, it works. I'm not going to argue. It does kind of work. Articulation, as usual, the arms move and the legs move. The tail and the head are tied to the action feature, which if you flick the tail to the right, the head also moves. Which I like that. I do actually really like that action feature. It doesn't go to the left. It doesn't go left, it only goes right. So you can't get it going both ways like you can with the Herrerasaurus. It's just one direction. But that is really neat. And here is the scan code for it. There's your Nanotyrannus scan code. So now onto the figure I was mostly looking forward to in this set. The Achillobator. Let's get him out. There we go. I don't know much about this species. The Achillobator is one of the species that I don't know loads about, but this figure looks amazing and is definitely my favourite of this wave. It has the most paint on it anyway. It looks like it has the most variety of colours on it. And it just looks really cool. So going up to the head, the eyes do seem to have been printed really nicely again. Do we have any paint in the mouth? No paint on the roof of the mouth, but we do have the painted tongue. No painted fleshy bits again. We do have the really nice feathering work on the back of the head. So we've got this nice feather crest, which has a few little tufts on its back as well, and you've got the arm feathers, and then you've got the really big, you've got the big tail fan of feathers on the tail. So it looks really cool. I do honestly really like this figure. Just let you look at this head for a bit longer because the head is so cool. I just realised there's a little bit of a crest under the chin as well. That's really nice. So, articulation, arms again, legs again. And the action feature is tied to the head and tail. So you move the tail down and the head moves down. So yeah, it's all tied to that, and when the head moves down, the mouth opens as well. There we go. Really cool figure. I love this guy. This guy might actually end up going on my top 10 toys of 2026 list, purely just because I love the sculpt. Action feature But the sculpt looks really nice. It's a pleasing to look at figure in my books. In which case it might be an honourable mention. But oh well. Scan code. Here you go. There's the scan code for the Achillobator. And now I shall bring all of the figures back in for the finale bit. And you'll be happy to know that they do in fact all stand up really well. I've never really had any issue with the more gimmicky figures standing up. So that is cool. But anyway, that's all I have to say about these guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video, whatever that'll be. Bye!